Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the instant match reaction. Stoke City 0, Everton 1. The game has just finished at the Bet365 Stadium. What a boring 96 minutes of football that was, with Everton grabbing the winner in the 96th minute thanks to an Amadou Onana strike. I say strike, he sort of bundled the ball into the back of the net after falling over on the line after a poor corner by Lewis Dobbin and then a ball back in by Alex Iwobi. It was quite sort of telling of the rest of the performance that, okay, we won the game, but it was very sort of, it was very worrying, maybe you would say, poor, maybe you would say, but for me, it was, again, another grueling 90 minutes of football that we've had to witness this pre-season, and I understand, the old adages that we'll be, talking about in terms of, it's pre-season and it's about getting minutes in the legs and this, that and the other, but what you have to understand is we are 2 weeks away from the Premier League season. 2 weeks today, Everton will kick off against Fulham at 3 o'clock and the Premier League season will be underway. And whilst this is still pre-season, and whilst it is still about getting minutes in the legs, and whilst, Stoke City are a couple of weeks ahead of us in terms of fitness and in terms of their pre-season, whilst all of those things can be taken into consideration, I think we would be borderline ridiculous to sit here on the assumption that this time in 2 weeks we will be seeing a completely different Everton performance to the one that we've seen today, and that is what's worrying. Yes, we know it's only pre-season. Yes, we know there's still a couple of weeks to go. Yes, we know it's about getting minutes of the legs, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. But there seems to be this thing of, oh, well, don't worry, it's only pre-season, as if the next 2 weeks, the whole team is going to completely transform and it's going to be a completely different performance against Fulham. The reality is, it isn't. The reality is, the team that started the game today is more than likely going to be the team that starts against Fulham, with the exception of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who I think will start against Fulham, because I think the reason he hasn't been playing in pre-season is so we can play that first game of the season without any risk of injury before it. But with the exception of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think it will be pretty much the same side that started today at the Bet365 Stadium. Now, of course, we might make a couple of signings in the next 2 weeks and they might fit in there and they might change the way in which we play and they might improve us a little bit. But, majorly speaking, for large amounts of that squad, that will be the team that we see in 2 weeks' time kicking off the Premier League season. So I think we are warranted, and I think we are more than, as I said, warranted enough to be able to sit down and say that is a little bit worrying, because we were poor today. We were really, really, really poor today. We were shocking. It was a poor game of football, don't get me wrong. I thought both teams were not very good, and obviously only separated by a last-minute winner by Amadou Onana. But I thought Everton specifically today were just all over the place. Off the ball, we weren't great. On the ball, everybody, Decore, Iwobi, Lewis Dobbin, when he come on, I thought both full-backs were poor, both centre-backs were making silly mistakes. Jordan Pickford even made a couple of mistakes that, you wouldn't usually expect them to make. I just thought we were really, really poor. In the final third, we were atrocious. A couple of balls were put in for Lewis Dobbin. He couldn't finish. Again, 2 weeks ago, we had people saying, well, give Dobbin a go, get Dobbin in the starting 11. He's not good enough. Yes, he's young, and yes, he's inexperienced. He needs another loan. It's as simple as that. Just because he's young and he come on and looked a bit bright against the, a championship side a couple of weeks ago, doesn't mean that he's good enough to play in the Premier League. He's just showed today with them 2 chances he ain't ready. He's just showed that today. But this isn't me having a go at Lewis Dobbin, by the way. I'm just using him as an example. Neil Maupay, again, offered nothing as a striker. Was all right in terms of holding the ball up and moving it about, but as a centre-forward, offered nothing. The midfield, I thought James Garner done well. I thought Garner Gay was absent. I thought Onana done well when he come on. I thought Decore was poor. I thought Decore was poor. I thought McNeil wasn't as involved as he has been. I don't think he was poor, but I don't think he was as involved. Both fullbacks look shaky. The defence looks shaky. We just we didn't look like we had anything. And don't get me wrong, we weren't battered all over the place by Stoke City. So, it's not like we sit here and say, oh my God, it was the worst performance I've ever seen. We were absolutely atrocious, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that. And I get people that will say, well, you're overreacting. The game was 0-0. It was a boring game and we got to win it in the last minute. But in these types of games 2 weeks before the start of the season, especially when the starting 11 is one that you would probably expect to see more or less on the opening day of the season, you look for something, don't you? You look for players that, impress, or you want to look for someone in pre-season where you go, bloody hell, he's really, really knocking on the door there. He's really saying to Sean Dyche, I have to be in that starting 11 come that game against Fulham. And nobody has done that today. And nobody did it against Bolton. And nobody really did it against Wigan either. And it's all right saying it's only pre-season. But as I said, the Premier League season starts in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time. The world isn't going to change in 2 weeks' time. Everton aren't all of a sudden going to become the best team in the world in 2 weeks' time. So what we witness today, more or less, will be what we witness in 2 weeks' time. And okay, we'll be a little bit fitter and we might have an addition or two in and we might have Dominic Calvert-Lewin in there. But Abdoulaye Doucouré's decision-making on the ball won't all of a sudden become absolutely perfect in the next 2 weeks. Alex Iwobi's final ball won't become all of a sudden absolutely perfect in the next 2 weeks. It won't. Neil Maupay won't all of a sudden become the goal-scoring striker we need him to become in the next 2 weeks. And that's why these types of performances are slightly worrying. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to sit there panicking all night because, yeah, it's a pre-season game and we won it at the end. But it is concerning, and it again further highlights the issues that we have currently on the pitch and the desperate need to strengthen this squad. The desperate need to strengthen this squad. We can't go into that Premier League season with that team and with that squad that played today. We can't. Simple as that, we can't. And I don't expect us to, by the way. I do think we'll have at least one name in before the start of the season. But for me, we need 2 or 3 in the next 2 weeks. Because, we've just played a championship team there that aren't particularly great and weren't particularly great today either. But we didn't ever look like scoring. And it's again the same, the same problem we had last season. In many occasions last season, we never looked like scoring. We never looked like scoring against Bournemouth, but luckily enough, Abdoulaye Doucouré steps up with a worldie. But we never looked like scoring in the game. It's not like we had 4, 5, 6 chances knocking on the door and we were unlucky. We never looked like scoring until Doucouré blasted one into the roof of the net. So we are allowed to sit here and watch that and be a little bit worried, because ultimately it is a little bit worrying. So, yeah, again, not the end of the world, and I'm not sure what we've learnt from this. Again, I don't think we've learnt much from any of the pre-season friendlies, to be honest. I think maybe you could say, well, they've been physical tests, to challenge the players, to challenge their fitness, and that means come the opening day of the Premier League, they'll be fitter, they'll be more physical, they'll be ready to go, etc., etc. Fine, you could say that. But in terms of the players in this squad and their ability and what they are capable of, we haven't learned anything in any of these games. We know Neil Maupay isn't good enough. We know Michael Keane is a disaster waiting to happen at centre-back, and he was again today. We know Nathan Patterson is very, very, very raw. Very raw. We know Alex Iwobi's final product needs improving. We know Abdoulaye Doucouré's final product needs improving. And we've seen all of that again today. How much of that is going to change come the game against Fulham? Because what happens when we put a performance like that in against Fulham and we lose? What conversation are we then having? Are we then allowed to say, well, think back 2 weeks ago to Stoke when we all seen this and we said we need to be careful here because this isn't good enough? Maybe it's part of a big master plan by Sean Dyche of telling the players to go out there, take it easy, work hard, battle, but don't do too much. And then on the first day of the season, it's going to be 100%. They're going to fly out the sticks and we're going to be Fulham 4-0. Maybe that's the case. And if it is, I'll say, in the instant match reaction to that game, I'll say fair play. But I just don't see anything on the pitch at the minute in these pre-season games that is worth any form of excitement. And I mean anything. Danjuma, come on. Started first 45 minutes in an Everton shirt. I think he had 3 touches of the ball. One of them was a shot, which to be fair I don't mind, because even though he wasn't in the best position, he had a go, and I don't mind that whatsoever. He had a go. But other than that, did anybody see anything today that they were remotely impressed with? I didn't. I didn't. I thought Onana looked okay when he come on, but again, it's not enough for me to sit here and go, wow, it was a good game that because Onana come on and looked good. It's not. We need reinforcements, and we need reinforcements now. Yeah. As I said, if you know, we can sit here all we like and say it's pretty. Branthwaite got some minutes. I suppose that's a positive. I thought he was all right on the ball. Again, I don't think he was brilliant because I didn't see much of him. I don't think he had much to do, but I thought he was all right. But we can sit here all we like and say it's pre-season, it's this, it's that. It doesn't matter that much. But you know, answer me this: if we get to 2:00 in 2 weeks' time and the team is announced to play Fulham and it's that starting 11 that played today, are you going to be worried? Are you going to be thinking, shit, there's not a lot in this? Because I will be. I'm telling you that. I will be. So, there you go. Again, you know, it's not that serious. It's a pre-season friendly. We won it in the 96th minute, which is great. Yeah, 96-minute win. I thought the referee was terrible, which isn't unusual. But, yeah. Put it this way. With half an hour to go, I very, very nearly just went to bed. Because it was terrible. But there you go. There you go. Maybe we'll be Fulham 18-0 and this won't matter. But I just think it's a little bit worrying when we're 2 weeks away from the season and we perform like that. I do. But there you go. Big thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new as well. Massive thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later.